Hello everyone, and welcome back to Behind the Bulletin. Thank you for joining us today. Tonight, we're diving into one of the most breathtaking events to shake sea entertainment. A ceremony so extravagant, so star-studded, so unbelievably grand, that it has officially rewritten the definition of a celebrity wedding. Dylan Wang and Bai Lu's Beijing wedding stunned sea entertainment, a royal-scale ceremony like no other. What made this wedding unlike anything the industry has ever seen? A-list guests caused a frenzy the moment they stepped onto the venue grounds. And how did a single night manage to freeze the entire entertainment world in awe? Stay with us, because we're about to reveal every dazzling detail, every jaw-dropping moment, and every luxurious secret behind this once-in-a-lifetime event. Let's begin. Dylan Wang and Bai Lu's Beijing wedding stunned sea entertainment, a royal-scale ceremony like no other. No one in sea entertainment was prepared for the magnitude of the moment. Was supposed to be a private, elegant wedding quietly held in Beijing had erupted into a full-scale industry shockwave. Rumors had whispered for weeks, but the truth, once revealed, surpassed every fantasy fans ever imagined. The first tremor hit when a convoy of pitch-black luxury cars rolled through the gates of the Forbidden City. It wasn't a film premiere. It wasn't a state banquet. It was the wedding of Dylan Wang and Bai Lu. And the sheer scale of it left even the security guards stunned. Paparazzi stationed outside choked on disbelief as one supercar after another glided past, each carrying a face powerful enough to headline their own red carpet. Inside, the venue had been transformed into something out of a royal chronicle, towering lanterns casting warm golden light, silk drapes cascading from massive beams, and a pathway lined with thousands of red peonies imported exclusively for the event. Guests whispered in awe as they entered, many pausing mid-step as the acoustics carried ancient traditional music through the courtyard. It didn't feel like a wedding, like history. But the real tension began when the guest list leaked. Within minutes, social media exploded. No way, this many A-listers in one place. Is this a wedding or the Oscars of Asia? Why am I sweating? WHOLCIS there. Every corner of the venue glittered with the brightest stars of the entertainment world, global supermodels, box office giants, chart-topping singers, and directors so influential their presence alone could shift film schedules across the country. Yet, even among them, there's one electric question lingering on every tongue. Where are Dylan and Bai Lu? The bride and groom had not yet appeared, and the tension was suffocating. Rumors spread like wildfire across the courtyard, each one more dramatic than the last. Some whispered that the couple was preparing an entrance unlike anything in Chinese celebrity history. Others speculated that a last-minute issue had delayed them, perhaps a dress malfunction, a missing accessory, or a dramatic emotional moment backstage. But the truth was far more explosive. As the lights dimmed, a soft wind swept through the courtyard. Guests turned instinctively toward the ancient entry gate. And suddenly, every lantern in the venue flickered simultaneously, plunging the space into a breathless silence. A low chime echoed across the hall, followed by a booming voice from the speakers. Ladies and gentlemen, the bride and groom. Gasps erupted as the massive doors slid open. What emerged was nothing short of cinematic. Dylan Wang stood tall in an embroidered black and gold suit that shimmered like molten metal under the lantern light. His hair was tied in a sleek traditional style. His posture impossibly royal, like a prince resurrected from an ancient dynasty. Guests clutched their chests as the groom walked forward, expression serious, eyes burning with emotion. But then, behind him, hidden in a soft glow of white light, Bai Lu appeared. The entire venue collapsed into stunned silence. She wore a sweeping, handcrafted gown inspired by traditional Han couture, with a cascading veil embroidered with phoenix wings. Her steps were slow, graceful, almost unreal, as though she floated instead of walked. Even the guests, accustomed to seeing stars at their best, were not prepared for the ethereal shock of her entrance. Some fans watching the live stream fainted on camera. The music swelled, ancient and majestic. As the couple slowly approached the center platform, a grand stage built over a reflective pool of water. Their mirrored reflections glimmered beneath them like a second world unfolding under the surface. But then, just as the officiant prepared to speak, a sudden crash echoed across the courtyard. Everyone froze. Security rushed toward the source of the sound, and a murmur rippled across the audience. Something, or someone, had slammed against the outer gate hard enough to shake the lanterns. Guests exchanged looks of fear and confusion. And then came the scream. A woman's voice tore through the silence. Stop the wedding. The entire venue erupted into absolute chaos. Who was she? Why was she here? And what truth was she about to spill? Moment, the entire courtyard froze. The music cut abruptly. Lanterns swayed as if startled by the scream. Every guest turned toward the entrance in disbelief. Tension tightening the air like a string pulled to its breaking point. Security guards sprinted toward the gate as the wooden doors shook violently again. Another blow. Another thunderous impact. The crowd erupted into panicked whispers. Who is that? Is someone trying to ruin the ceremony? Impossible. Nobody gets past this level of security. But impossibility meant nothing now. It burst open. Standing in the doorway, disheveled and breathless, was a woman dressed in an evening gown torn at the shoulder. Mascara streaked down her cheeks. Wild with desperation. Behind her, guards grabbed at her arms, struggling to hold her back. She screamed through the chaos with a voice that cut through the courtyard like a blade. Dylan, you can't marry her. The courtyard ignited with hysteria. Guests gasped so loudly the sound echoed off the ancient walls. Photographers scrambled for angles, pushing past stunned actors and clutching directors. Some stars stood up in pure shock, while others covered their mouths in disbelief. Dylan stood motionless on the stage, whose veil fluttered as she turned toward the woman, heart slamming painfully against her ribs. Her fingers dug into the bouquet so tightly petals snapped beneath her grip. The woman fought the guards even harder. Let me go. He needs to hear the truth. He needs to know what really happened. The crowd was seconds away from erupting into a full meltdown. Finally, Dylan raised a hand. Let her speak. The guards froze. The crowd gasped again. Even Bailu inhaled sharply, but she did not protest. The woman stumbled forward, trembling. Tears poured down her cheeks as she looked directly at Dylan. Then at Bailu, then back again. Voice cracked. Dylan, you promised you would tell her before the wedding. You promised you wouldn't hide it. Bailu's hands went cold. Tell me, what? She asked. It's barely a whisper. The woman shook as she spoke. It's about the accident. The one from 2 years ago, the one that changed everything. A wave of whispers washed over the guests. And? What accident? Dylan's face tightened, jaw clenching, eyes darkening with the storm he had tried so hard to bury. Bailu stepped forward. Dylan, what is she talking about? Dylan opened his mouth, then closed it again. Pain carved across his expression. It was clear he had kept something hidden. Something heavy. Something dangerous. The woman's voice trembled as she revealed the truth Dylan couldn't. At night, when the car spun out on the bridge, Bailu, he wasn't alone. Silence. The lantern flames flickered violently as if reacting to the shock. Bailu's bouquet slipped from her fingers, scattering across the stage in a slow-motion fall. Dylan took a step toward her. Let me explain. Then explain, Bailu whispered, shaking uncontrollably. Explain why I'm learning this here, today, of all days. Clouded Dylan's eyes. I wasn't with her like that. I was helping her. She called me because she was in danger. But the media never found out because I covered it. I hid it because I didn't want our relationship to be dragged into the scandal. The woman sobbed harder. I begged him to tell you. Begged him to be honest. But he said he didn't want to lose you. Bailu staggered back as though the confession were a physical blow. Her veil trembled, catching in the wind, her breath hitching. She stared at Dylan, her groom, her partner, the man she trusted above all, and saw the fear he'd been hiding behind that royal entrance. Guests held their breath, terrified to move. Why didn't you tell me? She choked out. Because I knew you'd look at me exactly like you're looking at me now, he whispered. A devastating silence swept over them. The woman collapsed to her knees, exhausted. Back by security as she wept uncontrollably. The crowd murmured in shock, unable to comprehend how a wedding of this scale had suddenly turned into a battlefield of secrets. Finally, Bailu closed her eyes. Inhaled. Exhaled. Then opened them again, with a gaze so steady it silenced even the wind. And Wang, she said softly. I didn't fall in love with a perfect man. I fell in love with a human being. Cannot walk into this marriage if there's even one truth you think I cannot handle. Her words echoed across the courtyard. His chest rose and fell sharply, guilt tearing him apart. He stepped forward, dropped to one knee, not in a proposal, but an apology. If you can forgive me, I will spend the rest of my life never hiding anything from you again. His hearts clenched. Bai Lu stared at him, hurt, heartbroken. But her voice did not waver. Then stand up. Rose slowly. She reached out, took his hand, and said, "We finish this wedding, together." The courtyard erupted, relief, tears. Tears, stunned applause. Even the lantern seemed to glow brighter. Music swelled again. And under a sky filled with fireworks. After surviving a truth that could have destroyed them, Wang and Bai Lu completed the most unforgettable wedding in Sea entertainment history. A royal scale ceremony. The royal scale twist. That no one would ever forget. As the final firework faded into the Beijing night sky, the courtyard, once trembling with shock, chaos, and secrets, fell into deep, taking silence. A silence not of fear, but of awe. What should have been the perfect wedding had nearly collapsed under the weight of a truth long buried. Yet somehow, against every expectation, Wang and Bai Lu stood together, stronger, steadier, and more united than ever. Their union was no longer just a lavish ceremony. No longer a royal-scale spectacle of flowers, lights, and elite guests. Came something far more powerful. A testament to honesty, forgiveness, and the relentless resilience of love. World obsessed with perfection. They showed that real love bends, breaks, hurts, but ultimately heals. And when the couple walked hand in hand across the shimmering water pathway, the cheers that erupted were not for the luxury, the glamour, or the celebrity status, but for the courage it took to choose each other despite everything. Beijing wedding will be remembered not just for its beauty, but for its unbelievable twist. A night where truth was exposed, hearts were tested, and love triumphed. Thank you so much for joining us on this emotional and unforgettable journey. Here at Behind the Bulletin, curiosity, passion, and support are what keep us bringing you the dramatic stories, the most stunning moments, most exclusive insights from the heart of Sea Entertainment. Stay tuned, because more breathtaking stories, more behind-the-scenes revelations, and more legendary events await. This is Behind the Bulletin. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.